I understand my father's fears. I recall a time when he laughed as he rolled on the grass with me, when he sang to my mother. He loved her dearly, perhaps as much as Elwin and I love each other. And then he lost her. I understand his sorrow. But why can't he see my love for Elwin?
After my argument with Shaera's father, I retreated to a remote corner of Aranorn's court garden. I sat on the grass near a gentle creek, dipped my kerchief into the cool water, and dabbed my swollen cheek. Grammin had a mighty punch. My entire face hurt. But physical pain aside, the worst part was the humiliation of standing in front of the elven court while Shaera's father refused to allow me to marry his daughter. I had enjoyed 2 weeks as Aranorn's hero for convincing the White Tigers to become our allies, and I mistakenly thought my new status might have improved Grammin's opinion of me. So, during one of my secret meetings with Shaera, I first asked her if she would be my wife. Of course, she agreed. All that was left was to ask her father. Together, we went to Grammin and the entire elven court, as was our custom, and I asked if he would give me his daughter's hand. He responded by trying to pound his fist through my skull. I have no idea what set him off. Did he dislike me that much? Then Grammin said, "If you so much as look at my daughter again, I will run my sword through your heart." Crestfallen, I hid here in the garden and tended my wounds, both physical and emotional. Thoughts of eloping ran through my mind. I even planned how we would escape from Aranorn, although I didn't know where we would go. That's when someone placed a firm hand on my shoulder. I don't know whom I expected, but Lord Hark was the last person on the list. "Are you all right?" Hark asked. "Do you need a healer?" I shook my head. "Grammin really shouldn't have done that," said Lord Hark as he sat on the ground next to me. "I just wish I knew what I did to make him hate me so," I said. I really didn't want to open up my feelings to the man who was technically my competition for Shaera's affections, but I couldn't help it. I needed to talk to someone, and he was the only person present. You know how protective Grammin is. Don't take it personally. Why, even I am not good enough for Shaera in his eyes. Hark said. I found this hard to believe since the two seemed to be such good friends. But we're in love. Can't he see that? I can, Hark admitted. That's why I want to help you. What? Yes. Is it so hard to believe? I care so deeply for Shaera that I don't ever want to see her hurt. In fact, I would do anything to see her happy. Even step aside and let another man have her. I suddenly felt guilty for all the times I wanted to smash in this man's teeth. I have often fantasized about Lord Hark's death, in a nameless battle, falling off his horse, choking on a carrot, you name it. Then I would have Shaera all to myself, and now he was offering to help me win Shaera's hand in marriage. I took Hark's hand and said, "Forgive me, Lord Hark, for hating you." Hark chuckled, patted my head in a fatherly way. "Only if you forgive my own jealous thoughts." "Of course. Then we are allies, Elwin. And as allies, let me tell you how you're going to change Grammin's mind. It's a long shot, but it might just work. I'll do anything." Hark went on to explain that when everyone fled Avlee during the reckoning, Grammin had been trusted with the bow of the Elf King. Unfortunately, the Elf King remained behind and died leading his army against the barbarian king, Kilgore. Grammin, however, came through the portals to this world with the Elf King's bow, the symbol of elven leadership. And then Grammin lost it, Lord Hark said. "I've never heard this story," I said. "Of course not. Grammin is so ashamed that he has only told one other, me. Grammin searches for the bow whenever he can, but has had no luck. Now, just think how grateful he would be if you were to find the bow of the Elf King and return it to him." I smiled because once again I had hope. The next day, I left Aranorn with some of Lord Hark's own archers at my side. The commander of Hark's soldiers, a stiff elf named Miralus, rode with me to the territory where Grammin claimed he lost the bow of the Elf King. It was a wild and remote land along the coast that reminded me of the forests where Shaera and I first got to know each other. Today, those were fond memories. "Here we are," Miralus said. I looked around, but we had stopped in a lush glen surrounded on all sides by a dense forest. I turned to Miralus with a questioning look and found myself staring down the shining blade of his sword. Behind Miralis, the archers had notched arrows in their longbows. "Listen carefully, Elwin, and you might live," Miralis said. I swallowed the lump in my throat and nodded. Meanwhile, I was trying to figure out just what had gone wrong. It seems I should have seen this coming, but at that moment I was too shocked by the betrayal to think. "I'm supposed to slit your throat and leave your body for the animals, but I'm not going to do that. You're just an idiot who doesn't know when to back off. I would put you out of your misery, but I don't want your death on my conscience," Miralis said. The depth of my stupidity was beginning to dawn on me. Lord Hark was the one who wanted me dead so he could marry Shaera. He probably told Shaera's father lies to get him to hate me. Oh, what an idiot I am. He's the one who sent me to face the tigers. I was supposed to die then, but to everyone's surprise, I succeeded. So Hark found another way to eliminate his competition. And I might as well have helped him do it. How dumb can one man be? If not for Miralis's compassion, I would be dead right now. Everything about the bow of the Elf King was a lie, wasn't it? I said. No. Grammon brought it to this world, and he delivered it to the Elder Council. They wait to give it to the next Elf King, Miralis said. If only I had talked to my mentor, Mina, about the stupid quest to find the bow of the Elf King. Mina would have told me I was walking into a trap. So, what happens to me? Miralis took his sword from my face and waved it toward the glen. This is your home, forever. You will find plenty of deer in the woods, and a creek over there for water. I looked around, feeling as if an iron shackle had been clamped around my neck. It looks peaceful, I muttered. Elwin, I know this area well. I've been in charge of this region for over a year. There is only one way out of that glen, and my men will be watching it closely. If you try to escape, I will hunt you down. I promise. And when I find you, I will not find cause to be merciful. I don't have a choice, do I? No, Miralis said. It's this glen or death. Which will it be? I know when I have been beaten. Inside, my blood began to boil as Hark's betrayal sank in. This wasn't over. I knew Miralis expected me to escape. He would have someone watching me, but I couldn't stay here and do nothing. I was alone except for Shaera's falcon, Breeze, but I had learned a few things during my recent adventures. Perhaps I could get away without them seeing me. I had to try. Shortly after I fled the glen, I realized I was being followed. I caught a glimpse of a red flag similar to Miralis's brilliant standard. I tried to lose them, but these were well-trained rangers. The next day, I sensed they were near and would soon close in for the kill, so I panicked. I rode as fast as I could until my horse grew tired and nearly collapsed. I stopped only because I didn't want to kill the beast and waited for my killers. Within the hour, 5 elven rangers stepped out of the woods, arrows notched. They were Miralis's men. I saw their faces and knew they were going to kill me. Nothing I could say would change their minds, so I turned my back and prayed they would make it quick. I heard the angry growls, and by the time I turned back around, the rangers were all dead, mauled by a pack of angry white tigers. The largest of the bunch, a female, approached me slowly and sniffed the air. "You bear the mark of one of our kind," said the tigress. Slowly, I reached into one of my bags and pulled out a strip of purple cloth smelling of tiger urine. "My name is Elwin," I said. The tigers looked at one another. "We know the name. We caught the smell of the mark some time ago and followed. We have watched you for weeks now and almost offered you our help, but we were not sure you needed it. Yes, I have great need of the white tigers. A man is trying to steal away the woman I love. Why doesn't your mate just eat him?" asked the tigress. "Because she does not know he is false." "Will you help me?" The tigress answered for them all. "We do not understand, but we will help you, Elwin Elf. We owe you much." A letter arrived today, tied to the foot of a raven. My falcon, Breeze, almost killed it when it soared out of the sky and landed on my shoulder. I opened the letter, glanced at it, and realized it was anonymous. Hurry, Elwin. By the time you receive this letter, Shaera will have married Lord Hark. Just days after you left, they announced their engagement and their mutual intention to be wed as quickly as possible. Shaera seems happy, but I wonder if this is true. I see a woman whose emotions have changed too completely and too quickly. It can only be some kind of enchantment, a love potion, perhaps. I beg you to hurry, but do not rush to Aranorn before you are prepared. All will be lost if you do not make the proper preparations, so I will give you this last piece of advice. In your studies, if you can remember them, you learned about the mirror of true love. I believe this is the one device that will remove whatever charm Hark has placed on young Shaera. Craft the mirror, Elwin, then return home. I think my heart stopped beating while I read those words. It couldn't be. This wasn't fair. My life has become like a storm, uncertain, chaotic, and dangerous. I can barely think at all, which is why it has taken me this long to write my letter to Shaera. I want to hear in her own words that she has married Hark. Am I simply asking for more punishment? Maybe. I have no reason to believe that the anonymous letter was a lie. In fact, I suspect that the man who instructed me in the druidic arts as well as gave me membership in the elven court might have written it. But Minadat is a solitary, eccentric man who only pays attention to his studies and the business of the Elder Council. Why would he involve himself in my troubles? So I wrote my letter to Shaera. Instead of my usual poetry, my words were to the point. I claimed I would return to Aranorn soon, and asked why she had married Hark when just a short while ago she had proclaimed her eternal love to me in a remote forest pool beneath the gleaming light of the moon. I truly feared her response more than anything. The first material needed to create the mirror of true love is called cloud silver, a rare alloy created by powerful alchemists. So you've come to this lonely home seeking the help of the learned man within. The alchemist is an elderly man who needs a cane to walk. You explain why you must have some cloud silver, and although the alchemist doesn't have any on hand, he says he can construct some. I would appreciate it. Perhaps I could do something for you someday. You say, well, says the old man, now that you mention it, I'm not as nimble as I used to be. I have an important experiment that I have been putting off because I am missing some of the materials. If you can retrieve them for me, I will make the cloud silver you need before you return. You agree and ask the man what he needs. I need 4 specific potions: mirth, quickness, resistance, and endurance. Bring them to me and you shall have your cloud silver. Not only that, but I can guide you to the home of a jeweler who knows the secret techniques of crafting cloud silver. Not just anybody can do that, you know. It took me most of the day to summon the courage to read Shira's return letter. Dear Elwin, please forgive me, but I have come to realize that Lord Hark and I were meant to be together. We are soulmates. What you and I had, I think, was the naive love often referred to as puppy love. It meant nothing. Now that Hark is in my life, I know the real thing. Be happy for me, Elwin. I ask that you move on and find someone who can do for you what Hark has done for me. Someone who can fill the emptiness in your soul. You will make some woman very happy someday. Meanwhile, I hope that we can still be friends. Good luck. Lady Shaera Hark. I was still weeping the next morning when my second-in-command entered my tent. The alchemist grunts as he lifts a clump of white metal to the table, exhausted from the effort of forging it. He sits in a chair and dabs at the sweat on his forehead. There's your cloud silver, my young friend. Do you have the potions? Yes, here they are, you say, placing them on the table. Then you ask, you said you could send me to a jeweler who could craft the mirror of true love? Ah, yes, you'll find him far to the north. His house is a little out of the way, but I don't think you'll miss it. I must warn you, though, he won't help you for free. Good luck. seldom sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I picture Shaera and Hark arm in arm. I imagine Shaera plump with Hark's child. I see that they are happy. Yet I lie alone in my tent each night, hand clenched around the cold hilt of my dagger. Food, wine, even music gives me no pleasure these days. My only enjoyment is thinking of the moment when I meet Lord Hark again. I long for Hark's death like I used to long for Shira's love. The jeweler turns out to be a skinny dwarf who never sits still. As you tell your story, the jeweler seems to be working on 3 different projects at once. Yes, you want me to shape the cloud silver into a frame for this mirror of true love you were talking about. Sure, I can do that, but working with cloud silver is a labor-intensive job. Are you willing to pay for my time? He says. Of course. Is it gold you want? Not gold. I have plenty of that stuff. What I'm running out of are gems. Bring me 40 gems, and I'll fashion the frame for you. You were a little worried about the quality of work this busybody of a dwarf would be capable of. But when she shows you the ornate cloud silver frame, you are impressed. Now that I look at it, I'm a little reluctant to give it up for just 40 gems, she says, but a deal is a deal. I was sulking in my usual place at the edge of camp when the tiger approached me. Would you like to talk to someone who claims to be a messenger from Aranorn? Or shall I eat him? The white tiger asked. Sighing, I said, bring him here, soon. A pair of tigers led a young elf before me. The messenger was no younger than myself, but I sure felt older than he appeared. Who sent you? Hark, I snapped. I actually represent the elven court, sir, which is permanently attached to Hark's backside. I cursed. Whatever this messenger had to say, I could assume they were Hark's words. Suddenly, my hand itched for the touch of my knife. Go on. Well, considering your recent criminal activities in this region. Criminal activities? I shouted. Yes, I believe they cited recent attacks on Aranorn troops and fortifications. To continue, the Elven Court asks that you do what is honorable and surrender yourself to them. They promise you will be treated fairly, and that you will also get an unbiased trial, the messenger said. It took all my strength to avoid taking out my anger on this poor elf. Instead, I stood slowly and turned my back on the man so he wouldn't see me clench my jaw so tightly I nearly shattered my own teeth. When you return, I want you to speak my response before the entire Elven Court. It is my right, I said. Yes, it is your right. Then tell them I am not the criminal here. Tell them that I accuse Lord Hark of attempted murder and forcing Shaera to marry him against her will. You tell them that, but I tell them, I screamed. You've heard that this wandering merchant is the only person who might have the 2 pounds of pure, untrampled sand you need to create the glass portion of the mirror of true love. The merchant must have seen the desperation in your eyes, because when you ask the price of the bag of sand, he says, I can't accept less than 10,000 gold for it. That's ridiculous. You don't know what I had to go through to get this pure sand. It's a complex process. Knowing that he will not budge from his price, you storm away. When you carry the sacks of gold into the merchant's shop, you suddenly feel foolish for paying so much for a bag of dirt. The merchant gladly hands over the bag of pure sand while he counts and stacks his money. The only thing hot enough to turn pure sand into the kind of mirror you need is a dragon's breath. You knew that, didn't you? The merchant asks as you prepare to leave. Yes, I just don't know where to find one, you reply. Ah, that's where I can help you. To the east dwells a red dragon, but I'd be careful with that one. She's one of the last of her kind. You're more likely to get eaten than strike up a conversation. Strangely, an adult red dragon stands guard over this gateway. He explains that only Elwin can pass, and only after Elwin helps his mother in the red dragon cave. The red dragon was waiting for you, and contrary to the merchant's opinion, it didn't seem at all interested in eating you. You're the one that has been fighting with that elf who calls himself Mirrorless, right? Asks the red dragon. Yes, good. I hope you really give it to him. Finally, you ask, I was hoping to get your help in turning some pure sand into a mirror. I'm attempting to craft a mirror of true love. Really? The red dragon says slowly, conspiratorially. Tell me your story, and start from the beginning. I like long tales. Not daring to anger the giant beast, you tell the red dragon everything. Upon finishing your story, the red dragon leans back and says, perhaps we can help each other then. How? That elf, Mirrorless, captured my mate recently. She's the most beautiful black dragon you have ever seen. At that moment, I really sympathized with the creature. Imagine that. Where is your mate? Asked. Probably locked away in one of his towns. I've searched the countryside myself, but I can't find her, and his towns are too well defended for me to attack them myself. If you can bring my mate back to me, I will gladly forge your mirror. Chained to the ground in the middle of the courtyard was a large black dragon. It appeared weak, but its eyes glowed with rage. I wasn't sure if I should release the creature. It might turn that fury against my army. Then I explained why I was here and promised to take the dragon back to its mate. Only then did the black dragon agree to join me. It lightens your heavy heart when you see the dragon couple leap into the sky and fly excitedly among the clouds. You watch for some time, wondering if they will ever come back. And just when you're about to give up, the red dragon returns, landing in front of you. I did not forget my end of the bargain, elf. Bring me your sand, and I will forge it into the mirror you need, he says. And when that is done, you will finally be able to return to Aragorn and free Shaera.